Hey everybody, the North Remembers here, back with the Not So Silent Sisters to discuss part 2 of our Prophetic Characters chat from yesterday. The panelists are almost all here. We're going to go down the line and introduce ourselves. Manaro.
Hey everyone, Manaro here. I'm glad to be here with North and Lady D
Manaro.
and Alicia. Thank you so much for having me again on part 2. And I hope everybody in the chat has a great time.
Hey guys, it's Lady D, and I'm excited to be back for part 2 as well. Thanks, North. So we're all going to be here talking. I guess we're going to start with Mirri Mazdor and then work our way out towards other prophetic people. Do we have anything else on the topics list today, guys?
Hey everybody, the North Remembers here, back with the Not So Silent.
Is that me? Okay. Do we have anything else on the topic list today, guys? Other than prophetic people?
We do. I'm sorry, I was trying to see if that
Hey
was
everyone, Manaro
my
here.
echo.
I'm glad to be here with North and
Sorry about that. Was that my echo?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I had to pause that. I'm sorry, I had 2 windows open. The other characters we were going to go over after Mirri, we didn't touch on Jojen, Quaithe, and Melisandre, and any of the other ones that you guys had.
Yeah.
Want to kick off with me?
Do
you want to kick off?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I can start. Yes.
Okay.
So yesterday, and I'll turn my camera back on, guys, in a second. But yesterday, we ended up talking about Mirri Mazdor, and I don't really have much on Mirri, and it's not like she's the actual person who foretold anything. But I do think it's interesting. You know, she's basically a priestess and whatnot. And George R.R. Martin had I don't remember what interview it was. It's some sort of so spake Martin thing, basically, and he's saying that prophecy is fickle in a way, and it's one of those things where you can force it to make it happen, and it's one of those things that can be easily misinterpreted, and it's one of those things that, you know, could be real or couldn't be real in the book, just like religion and gods. And so it was just really interesting to me that Mirri Mazdor sort of forced the not the prince that was promised, but I guess the prince was promised in a way, but the whole mount that rides the world prophecy. She is the reason why this has come to fruition. Were it not for Mirri Mazdor teaching Daenerys that it's a life for a life to resurrect, then we may not have had our dragon eggs hatching. Were it not for Mirri Mazdor doing what she did to resurrect Drogo, or to save his life, whatever you want to call it, we wouldn't have had her burn at the stake, have him burn on the pyre, and then, you know, the eggs hatch subsequently. So I just thought it was really interesting that she is someone who is magical in a sense, but really had no hand in the prophecy as far as I guess prophesizing it. But she's the reason why this is all happening. Were it not for Mirri, I think. Anyway.
I agree. I totally agree. I love her bits and I found it weird, like she didn't really tell Dany much except for the sun. You know, you won't have a baby until the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, right? And Dany's taken that information with her on top of what you said about hatching the dragons. She doesn't believe she can have kids based on what Mirri said, and I wonder if that's even true.
I think she can have kids. I think she can have kids. I do. I think that I think that on her way back, well, on Drogon's way to get her, when she was just walking through the Dothraki Sea, like, hey, whatever, she had all that stuff happen with her. I think she had a miscarriage. Like, that's my opinion. Like, and I know a lot of people out there think that too. But I think she was experiencing a miscarriage or like a really bad period or something. But I think a miscarriage, and I think that she hadn't had a period for a while, so that means that she's capable of getting pregnant. And I don't think the last Targaryen female is going to be somebody who's going to be barren for the rest of our story. If so, that would really suck. But I don't think so. I hope not.
It would really suck. That's why I agree. I felt like that was a miscarriage, and she just didn't even know because she was going through so much.
You know, and
Gloria's baby.
I think the way that we listen to that prophecy, I'm sorry for interrupting you because I'm just excited, but I think the way that we interpret that prophecy is like messed up too. Not messed up, but different. Because we see that Khal Drogo does return to her in the form of Drogon when she's walking through the sea and the mountains are blowing like leaves. Like, we don't know what that means. Like, the mother of the mountain could explode for all we know. So I think that I think we've got a chance.
What about you, Manaro?
I agree with both of what you ladies have said. I think when I started listening to you, Lady D, I started thinking about Cersei, right? When you said that she, in effect, kind of made the prophecy of the stallion that mounts the world kind of come to fruition. She thought she was preventing it because she read it. She took it literally, meaning that she thought that Rhaego was supposed to be the stallion that mounts the world based on what the crone said, right? So she took it literally, and so she thought that by killing Rhaego that she was going to prevent it, because what she says is there will be no more stallion that mount the worlds because he will not burn any other villages, he will not raid or rape or and so forth and so forth. But you're right, what she ended up doing was, in effect, by taking Rhaego out of the equation, she now really brings to fruition the true stallion that will end up mounting the world. And just hopefully not going too much off topic, I agree. I'm kind of following the theory that Radio Westeros put out that Drogon will actually be the stallion that mounts the world. I'm kind of leaning towards that theory because it's really intriguing to me the way that they presented it. That sounds pretty good. And it's the same thing with Cersei, right? Cersei, in trying to keep the prophecy that Maggot Frog stated, it's kind of all actually coming to fruition. So in everything that she's been doing, from trying to get rid of Marjorie, trying to get rid of Tyrion, she's in effect, the prophecy that was pronounced is in effect actually slowly but surely coming to happen. She's already lost her firstborn son, and she's got 2 more children getting ready to go. She thought she got rid of Tyrion because she thought that Tyrion was her Valonqar, but you know that may not be the case. So I agree when you say that Mirri Mazdor in trying to keep something from happening actually ushered it into happening. And not only that, she gives away the secret in order to make certain things happen. She kind of gave the recipe to Dany in order to effect the life that had to be born, and the lives that, by in effect, sacrificing her life. And I'll leave it at that.
Great points. I love Mirri Mazdor. She was there for such a small time, but impacted the story so much by doing that. Sphinxy just jumped in. Do you want to say hi, Sphinx?
Hi, Sphinx.
Do you have anything to add about Mirri Mazdor? We were kind of picking up where Brittany left off with it yesterday before we wrapped up and recapped that, and Manaro shared her views on it too.
I wish I could remember exactly what we said before we finished yesterday, and that I hadn't missed what Manaro was just saying. But I'll just throw this out there, whether it's been said or not. Damn, she was hardcore. She was like, yeah, you saved me from what? Being raped 10 times instead of 9, you know, like whoop-de-doo. And I always loved that so much, where it was like letting Danny know, you ain't moving nothing like you think you're moving nothing. We're out here in these streets getting mounted and abused and assaulted by Dothraki like on a regular basis. And Danny she was so naive in the thought like, my son is going to be all this and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, actually, no, there's some people who don't want your son to be all that, because it's going to mean like horrible murder, death, rape, and pillage, the likes that they've never seen before. So I wish that I could say she learned a lesson from that, but it kind of actually just fueled her to become more of who she was already becoming. Doesn't make it a bad thing, but I think there was a lesson she really could have got there that I don't really think she got. That's it.
Yeah, she thought everyone was going to be happy for her goal in life, and that was one of the first times someone spoke honestly to her and said, look, we don't care. None of us want this guy or a Dothraki leader to take over the world. Look what's happening.
Yeah, she's like, oh, well, now I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. Alicia Kingston has joined us. Alicia, you want to say hi?
Greetings and salutations. So sorry that took so long, but y'all know how moms get when they call.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add about Mirri?
I have no idea what was even said because I had to mute because, you know,
okay,
was in the air. So I don't even know where we are. Like what about Mirri? I wanted to hear what Lady D was saying. So if you can maybe summarize a little bit, I'm sorry.
I think there was a little bit of a break up there.
Basically, Mirri Mazdor and trying to, I feel like Mirri in trying to stop the stallion that mounts the world prophecy. And then to your point though, I watched the Radio Westeros video. Like, I like the points they laid out there. But in my first read, I was like, why are people thinking that this is going to be her son if they're saying stallion that mounts the world? Like, they call all the Dothraki riders. This is a stallion, which is something that you ride that is big enough to ride the world. But what's the world? It's air. It's like, who can do that? Like, it's pretty obviously not a person. Like, that's what I was thinking. But I was really happy to watch the Radio Westeros video because, once again, like I told you, y'all like, oh, you're crapping gold. I'm not crapping gold. Like, this is how I think, but I have nothing to back it up. You see what I'm saying? And then they actually had points where it's like, oh, so my brain is okay. Like, you know? So to your point, like, I definitely do appreciate that video, and they do. If you haven't checked that out, guys, please check out that video. But to summarize it all, Mirri Mazdor, in trying to stop something from happening, sort of made this prophecy come to fruition, because were it not for her and showing that Daenerys a life for a life, one, so that she could hatch dragons, the whole fire and blood thing, like she basically gave her the keys to the kingdom, one, and two, if Khal Drogo would have just died and she would have just had the baby, she would have just basically been a broke-ass Khaleesi out there, not really, you know what I'm saying, with the baby. She would have just ended up in Vaes Dothrak and been no real threat to anyone, or at least it would have taken her more time. What Mirri Mazdor did directly, like, she's the reason why we have the story we have. She fucked up. You know that part where it's like Boys in the Hood and they got him like, you know, you fucked up, right?
Yeah, fucked up, right?
You're not fucked up, right?
That's Mirri.
10 after 10. Yeah, it was about
9:30, Mirri.
9:30.
So that's it.
I didn't even think on that at all. So yeah, kudos is pretty much all I can say. That's the mind of Professor D. You know, I'm just here to learn and listen.
That's why these discussions are so good.
What was I going to ask? I had a question. It was a question we were talking about. Mirri Mazdor. You know you done fucked up. What was it? It was right there. Brittany, it has something to do with what you were saying.
Mirri fucked up. She fire and blood, gave her the keys to the kingdom, basically. Like,
no, the story wouldn't be the same. We wouldn't have the story we have.
Yeah, we wouldn't have the story. Yeah. We wouldn't have dragons. She wouldn't have done shit. She would have been in Vaes Dothrak, like, damn, this sucks. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would he have died though? So did she kill him, or did he not follow her instructions and he killed himself?
I think that he killed himself. I think that real talk, she was bitter, but at the end of the day, she didn't necessarily want to just die. You know what I'm saying? And then it came to a point where it was like, oh, wait a minute, I could sacrifice myself in order to keep something from happening, because they're going to find out I killed the baby. But if I kill the baby, you know what I'm saying, she hears about this prophecy. Oh, yeah? So her kid's supposed to be that such and such and such. So if I kill that kid, then nobody has this problem anymore. But she tried to kamikaze out, not realizing, aha, bitch, like, it doesn't work. Like,
oh. I got a question, though. Like, if she hadn't, let's say she hadn't been there, or not even that, if she hadn't done what she did with Drogo's wound, would it even have been a problem? Because they have their own healers.
No, it would have been an issue because it was already, remember? Danny called her over because he was already, like, it was like, dog, what's wrong with you? Whatever. He's like, it's a scratch. Like, nah, it looks like an arrow hole. I don't know. Maybe we should get somebody.
His whole nipple was the skin from his nipple was, everything was just hanging down. So they actually had to pull that flap back up and actually sew it on.
But the Dothraki know how to mend wounds.
Yeah, they were, usually their healers would have probably put it back on and probably would have sealed the wound with fire to kind of, you know how in the field you have that charcoal, like if you have like a gaping wound that you put it in there and it burns, but it seals the wound. I think that would have been the same premise that they would have used in pulling the skin together, and they would have sealed the wound with some sort of heat source or fire to kind of merge the skin together. It would have gotten a scar, but any seeping that would have gotten into it, it still would have allowed for healing without without any bacteria or anything else kind of coming in. I don't know if I'm making sense, but
yeah, you are. You cauterize it. But my question to that is, if all they were going to do was cauterize it, why the hell didn't they just do that? Like once he picked that shit off and was like, I don't want this anymore. Why did
they would have? I think by then I don't know why they didn't just do that, but I think by then they probably just figured, he's okay, you know, he's being himself, so he must be all right. Because in the beginning, that's what they wanted to do, but Daenerys was so insistent on Mirri Mazdor being the person to heal him. And just a quick plug. I'm sorry I keep plugging Radio Westeros, but they brought up another good point about that. They said that it could be that she intentionally bound up his wound specifically that way and gave those specific instructions, knowing that Drogo would not follow it. Because she specifically told him not to touch it, do not drink any poppy wine, and there was 2 other things that he was supposed to do, and it was supposed to be over the course of 10 days. And then after those 10 days, he could do whatever he want. And they said within the first couple of days, it started itching him, so he just ripped it off. And he started drinking poppy wine.
He did everything he wasn't supposed to do. Fair.
Sphinx.
Ding, ding, ding. Enter Nurse Rant, right?
Nurse Petty.
Yeah,
Nurse
you don't want to hear petty nurse shit that explains all of this. Just use it now and then come back when my mouth stops moving. But I'll just tell you this, right? A wound is a wound. The only thing you need for most standard wounds is to keep it clean. The Dothraki know this. They're not stupid. They fight without armor on a regular. They get cut up all the damn time. So he's like chilling. It's just it's a bite, it's a nick, it's nothing, it's not a big deal. But Dany's all like, oh, I'm from Westeros, and this is the end of the world, and oh my God, who's here that can help anybody? And this chick steps up. And I think that if it wasn't for Dany calling out for her, he'd have been just fine. He might have had like a nasty ass scar. It could have even gotten infected. It didn't have to kill him. People get skin infections all the time. But it just would have been gross, and I'm sure they that's the Dothraki are the type of people to where they're not worried about scars, nasty shit. Actually, I want you to see me walking around with this horrible shit on me, and you see I'm still riding, I'm still living, I'm still fighting. You know, they're not like, oh, I need to be taken care of. But Drogo was so caught up with Daenerys at that time that when she's like, no, it hurts me to see you like this, he's like, fine, you know, bring whoever. I don't agree that she gave him those instructions knowing he would not follow them, because those are literally the only instructions you could give. Except for the poppy wine. Like, everywhere else in Westeros, when you get sliced the fuck up, you get milk of the poppy. So I don't understand why he couldn't have it. Actually, like, it would have helped him deal with the pain, but he definitely needed to keep it covered and keep it clean. And like, you know, like you said, it started itching, so he took it off. But all healing wounds itch. Literally, that's how you know it's healing, like it itches. So all that stuff was normal. It was all standard. And it wasn't even so abnormal that he took the dressing off. Like, I've done that myself, like, several times. Stuff itches and you're just over it. You just want it to just get a scab and you can move on. So I think with his whole injury, it was not predictable. It wasn't planned. The treatment of it wasn't planned. Unless she purposely put something on it to cause a systemic infection, everything that happened was just like regular run-of-the-mill injury stuff, literally. In Nurse Rant.
Thank you for that scientific observation. I like it.
Good Cowboys.
I was gonna say that Mirri impressed her. Mirri impressed her by saying she trained in the Shy, and I think she mentioned Marwyn, and so Dany was instantly like, "Oh, the West." Like, I look at the parallels of what George is probably trying to show us throughout the story all the time. Like, our way must be better. Let's just use our healers. And y'all make a good point. They could have used the Dothraki. What do they call their healers again? I forget their name, but
is there a specific name?
Yeah, they don't have healers.
I thought it was just a healer.
No, they have some guys, they call them like the grassmen or something like that. I don't know if anybody in the chat remembers the term, but there was a term for the people that they were going to call over. They weren't as official as a maester or anything, but there was a term for this little crew of herbalists or whatever. But so that was her first mistake. I agree. She heard Mirri, and then she pushes it on Drogo, and he's like, "Okay, baby, I love you. I'll listen to what you say." But I wondered if you guys think that she knew she was paying with her son's life when she made that deal with Mirri.
I don't think so.
I really think she thought it was the horse. I really think she believed it was the horse.
I do too. I felt like from her POV, I didn't pick up that she was trying to kill her child.
No, I don't think she knew. She didn't know, but I think that when it had that, I feel like that's the whole trick. Like, that was the trick. Like, Mirri was like, "Oh, boop, that was the trick." But that's also the point where Mirri fucked up, because at that point, Dany didn't know. She just figured a life for a life, and that was equal. Like, this thing is alive now. My husband's alive. She's just not thinking about quality of life, I guess, or what has to transfer there. So I don't know.
Brittany, wait. So life for a life. So the horse died for, we'll say the horse died for Drogo, right? And then the baby died for who?
One of the dragons.
Dragon.
One of the dragons.
And then Mirri Mazdor died for who?
One of the dragons. And Drogo died for one of the dragons, because she had to freaking kill him.
So baby, Mirri Mazdor, and Drogo were the lives for the three dragons.
Fair for the dragon, yeah.
If you would permit me, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's my opinion. That's not like a thing, like a real thing.
If you indulge me, I have the passage right here, and I'm going to read it real quick. The god's wife did not cry out as they dragged her to Khal Drogo's pyre and staked her down amidst his treasures. Dany poured the oil over the woman's head herself. "I thank you, Mirri Mazdor," she said, "for the lessons you have taught me." "You will not hear me scream," Mirri responded as the oil dripped from her hair and soaked her clothing. "I will," Dany said, "but it is not your screams I want, only your life. I remember what you told me. Only death can pay for life." Mirri Mazdor opened her mouth, but made no reply. As she stepped away, Dany saw that the contempt was gone from the Mage's flat black eyes. In its place was something that might have been fear. There was nothing to be done but watch the sun and look for the first star. So she knew at that moment that Dany said that. And before saying that, can we take a second to say petty? Okay, she knew at that moment when Dany repeated her words back to her, she knew why it was Danny staked her there. It wasn't for revenge, but revenge happened to be, you could say, she got a 2-for deal. You know what I mean? She got a 2-for deal.
It's that one time you take shots at somebody and then they flip that shit on you and they're like, oh, life for a life? Well, let's use yours. And she was like,
yes. Like, oh, I know the quality of life, so I'm gonna take a real good life too, bitch. Oh yeah. oh yeah, and it's crazy because when you read it, and I had to reread. I'm telling you, that's when you realize she's like, I'm not scared to die. Go ahead, I don't care. Line me up. Take me to the jail. Send me to hell. Love to travel. And then Danny's like, yeah, okay, bitch. Well,
I just need
that's what you thought. I just needed your life, really, and thank you for all the lessons. Lessons that you taught me. Now, let me just take my little eggs. And then Mirri like, oh. And then, Daenerys was like, bye, Felicia, burn. And we had dragons. It was great. It's great. It's all Mirri's fault.
Bye, Felicia.
She thought she was bad. She was like, oh, I'm going to handle this whole prophecy thing myself.
Bye, Felicia, though.
No, she was like, I'm not going to scream. Well, first of all, you will scream. Second of all, I don't even care if you don't, because that's not what I need you for. I just need you to fucking die, bitch.
I need you to die. Fire and blood, bitch. That's okay.
But, when we were mentioning petty people, I didn't remember us saying Danny, but when I read through Danny is
Danny's petty as shit.
Oh my God.
Khaleesi of the Great Glass Sea, Mother of Dragons, the Unburnt, petty as fuck, all of that.
Those titles are petty.
Christina had pointed out how Danny threw that fruit at Xaro's on Doxus when she was annoyed with him. She is petty as hell.
He kept crying. He kept crying and shit.
She was like, shut the hell up.
He was being a little punk ass bitch though. Come on, you marry me,
like
your son, blah blah blah. Boy, shut the fuck up. She ain't worried about you. Like, come on, just know just know how to take a hint. Know how to take a hint.
Now, the second time when he came back through, when he came to see her at Marine, and he started crying, she was like, shut the fuck up. She was like throwing fruit at him, like, plop, just petty.
I'm sorry. I had another thing before we jump off of Mirri Mazdor. Do y'all remember when Viserys told Jorah that they think that she's going to have the stallion that mounts the world? It's all a farce. I wish I had the direct quote, but he basically told Jorah, it made me think as a reader that it was made up for some reason, and I wondered if somebody told them this in order to get Khal Drogo to do what he was doing. Do y'all have any feelings about that, or did that seem suspicious, or do we think Viserys just never knew what he was talking about? Whether that was a prophecy of those people or somebody gave it to them.
I think they've been doing that prophecy for a long time. I think with each new Khal, or I think that's something that they've been prophesying from generations and generation. It just so happened that with each new Khal's son that's born, they think that may be the one. And if it happens not to be the one, they'll predict that the next Khal is probably going to produce the next stallion that should mount the world. But I'm going to go along with Brittany to say that I think they were predicting it, but I think they were misinterpreting that it's not necessarily supposed to be a child that actually mounts the world. I agree with what Brittany said, that the people are riders, they're not stallions. The stallion would denote a beast, something, somebody bigger. Something bigger that's gonna mount an entire planet, not necessarily ride across the Dothraki Sea.
Sometimes I mount the world.
This was one of the more broader ones. You guys have mentioned stuff I didn't even think about with Mirri. And she wasn't even one I thought of on my list because I was thinking of the common people, the ones we really, really know about that are larger to the story in content, but she was so big to the story in the short time she was there. And she makes us wonder about Maester Marwyn. That's the first time we see a connection to the Citadel and people being trained in Ashai. Anybody else have anything to add about Mirri?
I have two things. I'm sorry. One, when she was burning, they said that she was ululating, and I'm wondering if the ululating that she was doing was the same ululating that she was doing when she was doing her blood magic, when she was trying to do that thing with Drogo. I wonder if it's the same ululating, because it says she started off ululating and then she started to scream. So I wonder if the ululating that she was doing had some sort of magical, like a chant, if you want to say, some sort of chant that kind of helped along with the giving up of her life, in order to affect the dragon's birth. And two, my next question is, in order to become, what characteristics do you need to have, or do you have to have some sort of special talent or be of a certain bloodline in order to learn blood magic or to be a shadow binder? I mean, because Marwyn seems to be a very learned man and knows a lot of shit. And so when you go to Ashai, which is where most people learn a lot of that stuff from, is there something that you have to give, or if there's something about you that will make you predisposed to be able to learn or to be able to perform those kinds of things?
I think it's a skill that can be taught, and that's why they buy slaves. You know, like Melisandre was a slave, Varys was a wandering child. You know, Varys isn't a shadow binder, but I'm saying, like, I think they pick these kids up and see if they can learn this ability, if they can handle this ability. I don't know if it's a genetic thing. We haven't really seen anything to guide us in the way that Melisandre is genetically important, even though some people put her in the Sierra Sea Star family line because they have like heart-shaped face. I don't buy that at all. I'm just gonna say it. I don't. Like, you need more than similar facial structure to connect a relation. That's just my idea. Just my thought. But yeah, I think it's just, who can I find, who can learn it, who can do it. And if you can, then I'll raise you up and you'll become a priestess. And if not, then you'll just, I guess, sweep the floor and prepare the bodies. House of Black and White style.
Anybody else got stuff to add for Mirri, or shall we jump to another prophetic character?
We're good.
There's one thing to the point about her and her ululating, her singing, helping to to break the eggs so I can release the dragon and whatnot, help hatch the dragons. When I first read it, I was like, okay, like going back through okay, this chick is clearly trying to protect herself. I didn't necessarily get the that she was trying to help out with the dragons until later, and I want to say it's Preston Jacobs, but I'm not sure. It's either Preston Jacobs or Ideas of Ice and Fire, where they were like, someone believes that she was trying to protect herself from the fire and then transferred that ability to Dany by mistake. I do believe that she was trying to protect herself from the fire, and I don't know if she didn't have enough time to finish the spell, or if she just fucked it up and it did go to Dany, or what. But I think that's also a reason why she was like, I ain't gonna scream, because she really thought, like, she really dead thought, like, I'm not gonna burn. Like, I'm not, and if I do burn, I'm not gonna feel this. Like, I think. So, yeah.
It was Preston that had that theory.
So Preston.
Yeah, it was Preston. I like it. I believe that. I think that the ululating was a spell, like Manaro said, but maybe it wasn't the same spell she was using on Drogo, but she was trying to use one on herself. It's the only reason I could see Dany surviving the fire, since we know so many Targs are not fire retardant. Like, they totally would die and have burned and have been injured by fire.
No Targs are fire.
No Targs are fireproof.
Yeah.
What I meant to say was so many of them that tried it that thought so.
Fucking Aryan Bright Flame, man.
Unless you're on the show Game of Thrones.
I don't know. That's the thing. Like, I the whole they're not fireproof thing, y'all. Like, I don't know. I gotta stop.
Here's another thing, right? Yeah, did the fire ever touch Danny?
That's another,
Did she?
But here's the thing, because of the magic, because of Danny having King's blood possibly in her system, and having the dead body of her husband there on top of all the ceremonial crap that is around her, is it possible that fire was not even fire anymore? It was just furnace wind type of fire. Like, it was something magical that was transforming at that point, and it wasn't even fire. So we're thinking like, oh, she ain't fireproof. Well, no, she's not fireproof, but she kind of flame retardant. You know what I'm saying? She gotta be, because if her hair burns off, if there's hair that burns off, she has to have some type of. I just don't believe that Mirri transferred the fireproofing to her. I think that Mirri was trying to fireproof herself, and it caught up to her. I think that what happened with Danny is separate and something that happens as a result of the ceremony for hatching a dragon. Like, it's just fire and blood necessary to hatch a dragon, and for whatever reason, your ass didn't burn. Because if she was completely fireproof, she still have her hair. Like, why the spell work on everything but her hair?
Well,
what kind of would cast a spell that work on everything but your hair?
I'm sorry, I'm yelling over you. I have to say it. Hair is dead skin cells, though. It's not living cells. They're dead.
She didn't have heat protected.
Right, she didn't have a heat protected. Like, I'll be damned if you're gonna cast some spell on me and it's not gonna protect my hair. I'll be too pissed off.
Protecting on fire every day. Brittany, look at the Red God. Like, she's really of the Red God, and he's protecting her and making her fire resistant / fireproof. And that's why these priests, are like preaching about her. Maybe there's more with a Valyrian link to the Red God than we've ever really thought.
I think
more Valyrian than Targaryen?
I think it's just a local religion, kind of like how they have the Faith of the Seven in Westeros is like the major local religion. Like, it's just one of those cults that came out of, because the whole fire and sorcery thing, like, we know that that's Valyria. We know that. So it clearly came from there in some place, and there's a connect. What do y'all say about the Red God being fucking Quaithe or something like that? Like, what if the Red God is just like how Bran is, where it's not even a god, it's a person.
It's a person.
Like, in a volcano instead of a tree. Like, I don't know.
That would be funny. That'd be funny. Like, come on, George. Come on.
You can't set me up like this and make it a... Nope.
Speaking of that, y'all want to move on to Quaithe as our next person?
Yeah, let's go.
Sure.
So she's like the queen of cryptic messages, and she only speaks to Daenerys that we're aware of.
And Jorah.
And everything. Did she speak? Oh, I mean, she spoke to Jorah, but I think that was only on the show. Did she speak to Book Jorah?
Can't remember.
Oh, you're right. She did.
She did come to them in the book in the city when that person was playing with the ladder so they could pickpocket people.
Danny.
But she was speaking to Danny, and some Dothraki were there. I don't know that she ever had a conversation with Jorah that she had where she called him out on, being her traitor at first and asked him if he would protect her. So there was a phase where I was thinking Quaithe was dropping knowledge, but I don't understand her motivations. And I'm not sure I understand all of the things she says. They make any sense, or do they?
Yes.
Who's got something? That's all I look at.
Y'all already know how I feel about Quaithe. I think, I don't know if she had a conversation. I know that she said stuff to Danny while in Jorah's presence, and I do remember Jorah agreeing with her about a lot of people are going to try to come after her because of her dragons, but I don't recall. Well, I guess we wouldn't know because Jorah's not a POV, so if they were to have had some sort of a conversation, he never alluded to that to Danny whenever she's talking, and he tells her pretty much everything except for that he was spying on her, but he pretty much tells her everything. So there's nothing in Danny's chapters that would make me think that he spoke to Quaithe outside of Daenerys' presence. So I don't know of any instance of that happening. But I don't know, man. Quaithe Quaithe gets on my nerves. I just wish that she would just talk normal. And why are your eyes wet?
There wouldn't be no story if she talked normal, sadly. But I do agree. I wish she would stop with that bullshit. And, you know, to go south, you must go east. And remember who you are, Daenerys. Shut the fuck up and just tell me where the hell I need to go, chick. Just, I don't need all these cryptic messages. Just tell me what needs to be done.
I think we've had that discussion before, right? Where I'm like, if that's my child or anybody I care somewhat about, I'm not going to be here and be all like, ooh. It's my ghost. It's my Quaithe face. Ooh. To go right, you must go left. To win, you must lose. I'd be like, look, kid, freaking don't talk to that guy. Tell that guy this. Take this paper, take it to the man over on the left on the corner, knock on the door 3 times. When they answer the bell, say these words.
Master of conspiracies, what if she does that because people can listen in? Like military transactions. Like, what if she's doing it and trying to code it because somebody is able to intercept dreams?
Then slip Daenerys some type of code breaker or something so she knows how to interpret the messages.
Yeah, Native American code breaker and do it.
Y'all know the little things you put in the cereal? Where you
What are you doing?
encrypt the code, like on the back of the cereal box, you had to get like the little thingy, and then you could like.
Yeah.
It was
The thing, yeah. Or the lemon juice thing where you make the lemon.
There's steps and levels you got to get to get the answer, but it can be done in steps, not just. Woo.
Yeah, I actually agree, Lady D. I think that the only reason she's so cryptic is she might be afraid of someone hearing her tell Dany directly what she needs to tell her, and obviously it would probably have killed the story for us to know that soon. But I'm frustrated with it. The only thing that makes sense is that she's trying to not be so clear, but she is so unclear. I think she's hurt Dany instead of helped her.
Then why invade her in her dreams too? Like, why use glass candles? Because if you're using glass candles to invade somebody's dream, I'm kind of thinking that's kind of like encrypted information that nobody else will be able to hear or see you doing it. Because when she uses glass candles to talk to Dany, nobody else can see her. At least that's what she says. Nobody else can see her. Nobody knows she's around. Only Daenerys. So when you're using glass candles, whoever it is that you're trying to communicate to, they're the only person that can see you. So obviously that is a secure form of communicating. You still want to talk in riddles. Even when you're using encrypted encrypted form of communication, you still want to talk. I mean, throw me a freaking bone already. And another thing, why are you wearing that mask? That's probably why your eyes are wet, because you're probably having a freaking allergic reaction to that freaking mask and lacquer that you got on your face. I mean, let it breathe. All scars heal, according to Nurse Christina. All scars heal. You're not letting it breathe, so it's probably itchy and your eyes are watery, and I'm just saying. And I'll leave it at that.
Yes, you've been paying attention to my lessons. You get an A in nursey class. Thank you, Manaro.
I see that T Baby popped in, but I think she's not back yet. Are you there, T? Okay, well, make sure she introduce herself when she gets here. Yeah, you guys are right. I like your military terminology there, Manaro, because she is using an encrypted medium and she's not getting any more clear. And I didn't think about that. If you're coming to me in my dreams and no one else, I assume, can see what you're telling me, that's the best moment to tell her the most clear message. And they never really got clear. I'm not even sure if we piece them together, I could figure out what she's talking about half the time.
But the main thing is, like, Daenerys is like, she literally says, stop talking to me in riddles. Like, tell me what you're trying to say. Like, yeah. I know you're trying to say something, just freaking say it. Like, that would be me. Because, stuff goes over my head. I miss everything. So I'd be like, look, if somebody wants to kill me, just say it in, like, a 5-word sentence so I can handle that shit.
Yeah, she did her no favors. She really did her no favors. And where is she at in the story? Like, the last time Dany heard from her, was it Quaithe?
No, she was that's when she was out there was it the Dothrak or wherever she was. She out there all in the middle of nowhere going through some really harsh times, and
Oh, when
she comes to her and tells her to remember who she is. And she comes to her in her dreams and tells her to remember who and that's just before Daenerys, Khal Jago runs up on her. Like that whole Dothraki Khalasar runs up on her. That's when she appeared to her. I think it was just after she was going through some real distress. So I think that's when she appeared to her. So that's the last time we see her. So I'm thinking that she's probably either back in Ashai or somewhere near because she's using glass candles.
Aha! Aha! There's glass candles in the Citadel. Aha! I had to do the Coming to America voice. But there's
oh, sorry.
There's candles in the Citadel. The glass candles are lit, right?
They weren't before, but they had been. They recently were.
Well, do we know when they were or when they weren't exactly? Because the whole
It seems like there's clues that since the dragons were born, / since the comet showed up, / nobody really knows which one happened first in the world of Westeros because they're all in different places. But there's some that's when the candles started burning. And also, Quaithe told Dany that she said something, least cryptically, that she told her that guy that was doing the ladder in the air wasn't able to do that. His skill set got better. And I think we're supposed to put together that it was all with the birth of the dragons, or we don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, but something between that comet and the dragons made magic return and get stronger. Even for Mel, but I think she thought it was the wall that did it, but I think it was probably a combination, but that's a whole nother segment.
I think everything is starting to come together. The appearance of White Walkers, the dragons being born, all that stuff is all pieces of puzzles that are now being, because now everybody is like talking talking prophetically. People are meeting, people's paths are crossing that normally would have never crossed before. Why all of a sudden is now Quaithe in the picture talking cryptic to Dan? Where was she at before that, right? I think the dragons are now ushering, so now she's giving her these prophecies, albeit not really making much sense in them, but she's giving her these prophecies the same way I think the Ghost of High Heart is giving prophecy, the same way I think Patchface is giving prophecies, the same way Jojen is talking in talking in riddles. I think all of the in the advent of the White Walker. Why did the White Walkers wait till now to make their appearance? Something is stirring, and I think R'hllor is now pushing out his priests and priestesses to get people to convert, to get more soldiers or whatever, build up somewhat of an army, because he knows that the Great Other is amassing an army. So I think all of that, and also the fact that the long summer is ending and the winter is coming, I think all of that is all coming together, is why we see all this stuff is coming to fruition right now.
I think it has something to do with that damn comet. I don't know what it means, but that comet does things.
So my question for you guys is, if we're only looking at where places have glass candles, because I'm not confident that she's communicating through a glass candle. I don't know what she's communicating through. Like Urathon has a bunch of glass candles. We don't know how many, but they said glass candles. Urathon Nightwalker in Dorne. You guys, I want to say Hellholt. If you guys don't know who that is, check them out or whatever. But Urathon Nightwalker, he supposedly has glass candles in his possession and that they're burning. Now, I forget who told who that or how we even know that, but he has a whole bunch of them. And I think we should be concerned that somebody with the last name Nightwalker has obsidian anything that can send dreams. One, and two, like, if he has glass candles and he's a private person, I would think that there are other houses that may have glass candles. Other houses that are embroiled in prophecy or whatever that may have glass candles. Because they're rare, but they may be only as rare as Valyrian steel swords or something like that. If a lord, and he's not even a huge lord, has them. That was it.
I think what's his name? Preston had a theory that Quaithe wasn't communicating through glass candles. She was using the moon. I don't know how exactly. I don't remember exactly how he worded it together, but that's the conduit that he was using.
She gave him the look.
Oh my God. Sorry. These fools over here bothering me right now.
I didn't say anything.
And the bad part is one of them is a grown ass woman.
I didn't say nothing.
Leave that damn boy alone.
I didn't say anything.
Sorry, please proceed with the conversation.
Please.
I was gonna say, Alicia, I think I did see the Preston video, and I think it was some relation about the moon and stars always looking down on Danny.
Yeah.
So somehow he connected that Quaithe was watching her via the sky as her werewood tree. And I'm not sure if also the connection of her sun and stars, moon and stars, being told to us a million times over and repeated, maybe there is a connection there. So I kind of like his theory, but I don't know, how solid or not it is. But there's some real references to the sky watching and looking and people feeling like they're being watched.
Yeah, especially whereas those bright lit full moon nights.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just interesting to think about.
Yeah. And I don't know, Quaithe she's so questionable that she's not a long one to talk about, but the small bits where she's there, it just leaves a lot to be seen. Like, what the heck is she talking about? Will we ever find out who Danny really is and what she is to her? And why does she know who she really is? Why is she the only person that wants her to know that?
Why does she care? Like, of all the people that Danny was around or walked past or spoke to, here come Quaithe out the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who you are. Bitch, who are you? That's the question right there. Who the hell are you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that question's been burning me for a while too. I'm like, the ham sandwich, what vested interest do you have in me knowing these things? How is this gonna, what do you get out of it? Even if you're just trying to help me, you must be getting something out of it. I don't think you're doing it out of the good graces. Or are you working for someone? Are you like working for someone that has a vest? Are you just like the middleman? Are you the middleman that's just coming in, dropping me these little cryptic messages, and then you go back, yo, I told it exactly how you told me to say it? I mean,
right.
Either Quaithe is working for someone, or she has some sort of a personal interest, some personal connection to Danny. It has to be one of the two things, because I can't see that she's just doing it just for the sake of doing it. There has to be some sort of a personal connection, because all of the other people have some sort of a connection to the people that they are giving prophecy to. There is some connection, and there's just some greater purpose for them doing it. So I want to believe that it's either a personal connection or she's working for someone.
I agree. T-Baby, are you back? Are you here?
Yeah, sorry, it was in the chats. Forgive me for being late. It's just been really stressful. I'm not really sure what all of you guys said about Quaithe. You guys were making really good points. I'm just going to throw out random thoughts that I had about her. I think that it's possible that she might have been drinking Shade of the Evening as well. That's why she might have that face covered, because she has like it's one thing, I get prophecies mixed up, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's one part where she says something about like doesn't she tell her about like the copper that she sees? No, that's the House of the Undying, when she sees that vision of like a copper dude with long hair. Was that the House of the Undying, or was that Quaithe? House of the Undying?
It was the Undying giving her the vision and the Shade of the Evening combination.
Right, but she knew similar things from like the House of the Undying. Now, as far as like how she's getting to her in her dreams, one could possibly be the candle, but then again, you also have to remember that Blood Raven also can kind of see through people's dreams as well, because he did it to Mel. So it's another way that you can see through someone's dreams without having like a glass candle around. Also, one thing that kind of is strange is that she does warn Danny about these cryptic things, but one like direct threat was Jorah, which doesn't make sense to why she didn't say like you are in immediate danger. But then in a way she does, because she says, you know, you need to hurry up and leave. She does warn her about things that that she's actually doing the same thing that Tyrion did with the Griff, where he's like, you know what, don't trust anyone, especially the people that were basically there from the beginning, which would be Illyrio. So I think she's doing the same thing. Who would possibly be the one to send her is interesting. That I cannot answer, but I just find it that she's interesting. When I was trying to listen to some of the chapters where she's involved, the main one that kind of really stuck out to me was right before she's even introduced. You get the story behind Jorah and how he was exiled and all that, and that just seemed weird in itself, that he was magically so good at jousting and then afterwards he just never was good. So I think something was up with that. But then you get this crazy story about it just seems similar to what, I can't think of it, and I just lost my train of thought, but the story of Jorah is really similar to the story of Rhaegar, where out of nowhere you go to this tourney and all of a sudden you start winning, even though there's people there who are better than you. Actually, you know what, I realized I'm going off topic, but I just thought that was interesting with Quaithe, that she kind of appears when that story came, and I don't know if she might be mirrored as far as, you know, what happened with that story. But overall, Quaithe is, I don't know who she's working for, because I agree with all of you. It's not out the kindness of her heart, because if she really had Danny's back, she would tell her, like, this is what I see in my visions. And she even says, you know, you need to be careful of everyone around you, including Jorah, but doesn't necessarily say, even though she knows that he's well, if her prophecies are true, then she knows that Jorah is also someone that's going to betray Danny. That's right, because in the story, he was talking about how he had, you'd be surprised what you have to do for gold. You'd be surprised with things you would have to do. He was telling, like that chapter, I want to say it's the first Danny chapter in Clash of Kings, where when he's telling the story, it's gold. They say gold about 10 or 15 times. So it's kind of like, I don't know who she's working for, just because she doesn't exactly, she's kind of like Littlefinger, where she shows you a little bit like, hey, this is what I'm for, but then she throws you off based on how she moves. That's what I'll say. Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry I'm all over the place.
That's okay. Sphinx, you got to sign off? Okay.
I gotta go. I gotta get in preparation mode for the game, Cowboys. First game season, so yeah, I gotta get my mind right. I gotta eat. I have to be in position. So I love you guys. Heart hands.
Thank you for coming. May your team be prosperous.
If y'all gonna do another part, let me know, because I know it's a lot to get through. We didn't think this all the way. Like, there's so much.
Yeah.
So just let me know, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Go Cowboys.
All right, bye. Thank you. T, you made some good points. There's so much with Quaithe that it does seem like she's working for somebody, or she's not being as helpful as she could. You guys all hit on so many things. Again, that's why I love talking about this with y'all, because I did not think about that. So many pieces to why she says the things she does halfway, and why she's even giving Danny the information she's given her. What does she gain from it?
Yeah, it's got to be something. That's another thing. Like, Jorah was always talking about how they need to go to a shot. They need to go to a shot. And then all of a sudden, it just changes. She comes from a shot. So it seems like it's a disconnect where it just doesn't make sense. Where anybody who says like some type of prophecy sounds crazy, no matter what. So it just doesn't make sense that they didn't team up or work together to help Danny hurry up, because Danny was basically brushing all of this stuff off. Like even when she was in the ghost city or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I got a fan on. Like, it's hot as hell in here, so I'm not gonna die, y'all. I'm sorry, but I mean, I'll jump off if you can't hear me. Yeah, so you already feel me, B, but I can't help you guys with that. I mean, if you let me know in the chat if you still can't hear me. If not, I'm gonna just have to jump off, but I can't die for you guys. I'm sorry.
No, I can hear you fine. I can hear you fine.
Because I know someone in the chat said the same thing. So you can hear me. Okay, great. You just hearing the fan. I mean, I'm sorry, y'all. It's hot.
Yeah, I have my ceiling fan on too. I've just been trying not to shuffle my papers at the same time because I know it's whipping around, but yeah, it's hard to sit in the room with the air stagnant.
Yeah, and like it's like on the far side, so it's still hot as shit, but it's like at least bearable at minimum. So yeah, we either gonna have to thug it out with the fan, or I don't mind dropping in the chats and just chatting with you guys, but I'm already basically dying for you guys.
Oh,
This is good.
You're
Wait,
fine.
T-Baby's dying? What the hell?
I feel you. I got my fan on too.
No, people I think can't really hear me, or they hear my fan and it's muffled, and like I said, it's like 90 in DC, so I'm trying my best. But yeah, so it's we got two options. Either you thug it out with me with this fan, or I just hop in the chat. It's like, I don't know. But yeah, I can be petty too.
Seems like you're petty.
temperatures rising.
Yeah, like it's been a stressful day, so I'm really sorry. I can't. That's one of those things that just really can't help you, and I really hope I don't sound like a dick, but it's a true Kanye strut right now.
You're fine, T-Baby. You're fine. Do y'all anybody have anything else on Quaithe, or y'all want to move on?
No, we can move on.
Okay. The last few I had, and I don't know if you guys do want to do a part 3 or if you're okay to go till about 4. It's up to y'all.
I'm good.
Really just Jojen and Melisande and Maggie the Frog. And I don't have a lot written down about them, but there are people that have said prophetic things or given information to other characters. So who do you want to do first?
Let's go with Jojen.
All right. Who wants to kick him off?
I'll just add my real quick 2 cents about Jojen. It's more of a question than what I observed, to be honest with you guys, but it's one part where Jojen says that, you know, he knows how he's going to die. He's going to die by like the water or something like that, but he thinks it might be home. Yet he shows that it sounds like he's scared and he's fearful while he's in the cave right now. So I'm kind of confused because remember they always say he always says your green dreams come true, but a lot of people say, you know, the theory of Jojen pace, which always kind of baffled me because yeah, I get it. There are signs that it's blood in there, but it could be like a goat or something that they actually have in the cave. But when it comes to Jojen, in that one part where he says that he knows how he's going to die, it makes me ask, do all green dreams really come true? Or is it the same way where he sees something and he misinterprets it?
That's a good one. I feel like he was misinterpreting.
Was there ever a time where Jojen
Alicia?
misinterpreted anything, though?
Say that again?
Was there ever a time where Jojen misinterpreted anything? All of his stuff seemed to be pretty status quo.
Exactly. That's what my question goes. It goes to that's where I don't get the Jojen pace. If he knows how he's going to die, he says he's going back home to die. Like he saw that in his green dream. But how can it be Jojen pace if his green dreams are always true?
I think he the only one that he misinterpreted was the one with with the one where he says that he sees Bran and Rickon dying. He does see two boys dying, and they're supposed to be standing in for Bran and Rickon, but it wasn't exactly Bran and Rickon. His green dreams are true. They all come true. All of his green dreams come true. But that's the only instance where we see where his green dream, even though they came true, it wasn't a correct interpretation. Two boys did ended up dying. They did stand in for Bran. In all intents and purposes, they were put out represented as Bran and Rickon. Like, everybody thought they were Bran and Rickon, but in truth they weren't. So I think, but I don't think there's a time where he's misinterpreted anything else. Like, he knows when he's gonna die, and I agree with you, T. I don't see any, even though we don't hear of him, I don't see how they would have made paste with him unless he's gonna go home in a different way. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me that they would have killed him, because he always says, "Today is not the day I die."
That's the only thing that kind of puzzles me when it comes to the Jojen paste theory, is because he says it over and over. He knows when he's going to die, and it's not today, and he doesn't think about it. And even if it's kind of confusing, because he knows that he has to take Bran to see the three-eyed raven, yet he saw them killing him. So I don't know if he was saying, like, I saw them, but I knew it wasn't you, because I don't know if he saw the vision that he was going to take Bran to see the three-eyed raven, but he knew that that was his quest, that's what he was supposed to do. But it goes back to, I've never seen him be wrong about his green dreams, so that's why I was like, I'm not sure if the Jojen paste theory would hold if all green dreams are true.
I think there was one piece I could think of where he didn't, maybe his interpretation wasn't wrong, but Bran took it literally, and maybe Jojen took it literally when he said the sea came over these walls. That's the only error I could think of, and I think it was a Preston video where he said that the guy didn't really drown the one who got his throat cut, that maybe Bran did some extra making that make sense by saying he drowned on his own blood. But everything Jojen said was not as literal as it sounded, but the Ironborn who are of the sea did literally come over the walls, but everything wasn't exactly as it sounded. So that was the only thing I could think of. T, you said maybe that was Bran's dream? I thought it was Jojen telling Bran that.
I thought Bran had a dream that but that might have been on the show now that I think about it.
Yeah, the show, I think the show was opposite.
It was Jojen that had the dreams, because he tells in the books, he tells Bran, I think it was Bran, Mira, and Jojen, he told him, he tells Bran the dream, because he wasn't going to tell him before, because he didn't think that Bran was going to believe him. But he does tell Bran, and then Bran goes to tell Lewin about it, but nobody wanted to believe him, and it wasn't until the night of it happening that they understood what Jojen was trying to say.
Okay. I remember seeing that in my head playing out. That's why I was like, wait, didn't Bran have that dream? But Bran's green dream was saying that he saw a storm coming, and his mom and his brother didn't even see it coming. Okay, gotcha. Caught up.
And that's why Manaro's the Grand Maester.
Yeah, I needed that breakout, because I thought it was the other way around. I thought Jojen was a little bit wrong about that, but I get it. And I Candy in the chat was saying that she trusts Jojen, and I agree. There's no part, if he misinterpreted anything, him and his sister are two characters that I really believe were the most sincere people for the good of the person they were telling they were there to help, for Bran.
And one thing I do appreciate about Jojen, after he tells you the dream or vision that he has, even though he doesn't necessarily, he can't necessarily interpret it literally for you, he kind of gives you somewhat of an explanation to kind of try and make it make sense. Because I think I don't know if he's doing it more so for himself as the person that or for Bran, but he's trying to tell Bran, look, this something is gonna happen. This is what I saw in my dreams. So something is getting ready to happen, and we need to like prepare for it, or something's gonna happen. And then Bran is like, well, how do we stop it? He's like, you can't stop it. Once none of my dreams, you can't stop none of my dreams. At least he's honest about that too. He's like, once I see it, it means it's going to happen. It's just that, you know, how do we prepare for it? What do we do when it does happen?
Good points. Good points.
Anyone else has anything to say about Jojen?
Anybody else have more on?
I was about to call him George.
Georgian?
Do you think that the swamp people or the crags also have kind of like the same what you call it, a connection to the children of the forest? Like, because the ghost of High Heart is not too far from that general vicinity too, right?
Yeah, I definitely think they have some type of a magical element in their blood. Most likely, they might have like, because don't they like they kind of live very differently from everyone else in Westeros. Like you can't find where they are. The way that they're kind of placed, they move wrong people. And that, oh, okay. I was looking at facial expression, my bad. But so they do kind of have like these elements where they do have like children of the forest type of elements as far as the style of living. You can talk about how they're also considered like frog people and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised.
I think that I don't know. The only reason why I say that is because they also have the gift of green sight, and I think in an earlier chat that we talked about how it was mentioned how Howland Reed must have been affecting Ned Stark, his messing around with his memories about what happened the day that they went to the Tower of Joy. So they may also have the ability to kind of mess with people's memories or shroud people's memories or mess around with people's thoughts or stuff like that. I wonder how that would work, but that's all I got.
I don't trust Howland Reed. Like, I just don't. The show just really made me not trust him, but I don't know. Like, I think he might be like have a good reason to all the things that he's done, but I think something about him I just can't trust. It's something. I don't know if they'll exploit it more, but I guess that you start thinking about all this. Like, did he come back to help them in any of the other wars when they drew their banners, or was it just when the Tower of Joy and then he kind of disappeared?
I would assume he was there.
I don't know if he came back for the Greyjoy Rebellion. The way that it sounded is that he took a really bad wound at the Tower of Joy, and so he's been recuperating, I guess.
And that's cool, but then I guess I find it weird that unless I just missed it, and trust me, that's happened plenty of times, but I don't remember them talking about, as far as Howland Reed or any Reeds coming to the aid when they had like the Greyjoy Rebellion or when they had to bring up their banners again.
But right now in the current war they have been
now they are, but I'm saying
but before no, I haven't heard either.
See, now that's making me like, you went so hard for this dude before, like you went against the crown, but you won't help him out during the Greyjoy Rebellion. Like, I don't know, it's just, where were you? It's like
he was Ned's bannerman. He wasn't Robert's. So when the Greyjoy Rebellion happened, I don't know what arrangement he made with Ned. Obviously, Ned didn't think that there was something wrong, because if he didn't show up, Ned would have said something about it, because Ned is really strict about when he sends out the call for his bannermen to come, and he is one of Ned's bannermen's, I believe. So if Ned didn't say anything about it, there may have been something that was already decided upon, which is why his presence, he wasn't there at the Greyjoy rebellion. Because remember, this was something that Robert was the one that was heading that, because Greyjoy was actually going up against the realm, not against Ned Stark. So
but he's a bannerman.
Yeah, but again, if he had done something wrong, I'm sure Ned, because Ned was way too strict, was too much of a man of honor. So if he had raised his banners and Howland Reed purposely did not show up, I'm sure Ned would have been knocking on his door for something. And we don't hear an instance where he did that. So I'm gonna assume that there might have been already something arranged, or something must have been discussed. It could have been that he did send men, but it's just that he personally didn't show up.
Yeah, but then you don't even talk about like the Reeds being there. Like, I can understand that Howland wouldn't be there because he was injured or something, but I just find it strange that
they don't talk about the Umbers being there.
Say that again?
They don't talk about the Umbers or the Wolves being there.
But this is like your right-hand man. Like, he was there with you when you got your sister. I just find it strange that he was just gone. Like,
I guess we'll find out in the Winds of Winter what happened.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But I just think that that's one thing that makes me kind of hold back and like, well, where were you? Like, the Starks were kind of crumbling. Well, I won't say crumbling, but it's more like Ned really only talks about him. You can't really trust too much of Ned's thoughts because he pushes his like most deep thoughts down. Like, even when he recalls about like the tourney in hand, or the Tower of Joy, he sees shadow figures. He doesn't see anyone's faces. So you can't really necessarily trust Ned's thoughts. He pushes a lot of things down. But I just find it strange that he was just gone for so long. Like, do I think your kids want the right thing? Yes. But when it comes to Howland, I think there's something off. Just about the way he even came into their lives is kind of like, okay, this is a little strange. I mean, he had their back, but he could have easily been someone to help push certain things to even go to start going through. Because isn't that kind of how it all started with Lyanna and Rhaegar, or at least quote unquote how it started? Because someone was picking on her.
Well, they were picking on him, so he wasn't technically a warrior in essence, because it was Lyanna who actually came and like rescued him from three other guys that were picking on him. So I'm gonna guess that he probably wasn't much of a warrior, and probably at the Tower of Joy, the way that it played out on the show, I'm gonna guess that it's probably almost similar to the same way that it kind of played out in the books, that he just happened to just sneak up from behind when he saw his friend was being overtaken by Sir Arthur Dayne, and kind of, did what he felt that he needed to do to kind of help his friend out. But he probably isn't as great a warrior as, at least that's not the impression I got from hearing his backstory.
Yeah, but when the show makes me, and I promise I'll shut up after this, but the show made me even more suspicious when it comes to him, because Arthur Dayne is not even really, he's talking to Ned, but he's not looking at Ned, he's looking at Howland Reed. Howland Reed fakes like he's injured so much that he cannot fight anymore. You don't see him. Fight goes on, battle. Then all of a sudden, now you get to stab him, but then it's like, it looks like he forgets he has like a wound, and then he looks, and then he hurries up and covers. That could have been an actor mistake, but it looked super suspicious. I promise y'all, just rewatch it. And then after that, he forgets that the wound all of a sudden is not that big of a deal anymore, because he's moving around and stuff. And next thing you know, he's like looking off a dead man's body, looking for something. And Ned hears something, and he instantly goes to the tower, but Howland doesn't. He stays because he's looking for something off of somebody's body. That looks so suspicious to me. So the show made it even worse. The book's not so much, but then I just question it. But you're right. It's going to come down to if they'll explain more. That's it.
I agree. That's one of those where I kind of hope the show is wrong, because in the books, I feel like I trust Howland. But in the show, to see him, although he saved his boy's life, it was a very unchivalrous, like dishonorable shanking. Like it wasn't like, but we're supposed to know that they only fight with their spears. And maybe that's only skills he has is to, fight with that dagger. He wasn't going to win in a sword fight. So it could be, it is what it is. It could be the show's totally off, but I'm hoping that we don't find out in the Winds of Winter that Howland is a creepy guy or up to something, because he sent his kids to go help Bran, and I'm hoping he's sincere.
As a lifelong advocate for the children of the forest, you guys have to know that I will always have to be on the side of the Reeds as well. And here's why.
Here comes the petty rant. I said, here comes the petty rant.
No, it's not petty. Honor comes in a lot of different forms, right? Like what you say is honor could be like whatever to somebody else. So in his eyes, what's more honorable? Letting my liege lord fight one-on-one with the greatest swordsman of all time, or taking this shot that may be a cheap shot but saving his life? What is the more honorable thing to do? If there's no honor in war, why the hell is there honor in one-on-one combat with the greatest swordsman of all time, with the greatest sword of all time? What the hell? So, I mean, like in the defense of Howland Reed. Also, if Howland Reed is somebody who gets to see green dreams, he already knows what's going to happen. He already knew what was going to happen at the Tower of Joy, probably on his way there. He already knew what was going to happen afterwards and what was going to go on. And it was probably like him going through the body. I wouldn't be surprised if he took something off that is we're going to find in that crypt or something like that. Something that's going to help Jon or something. So him also in the beginning with them getting together, I completely believe that was a setup. And there's a video, from Preston Jacobs, where he breaks it down like a fraction and tells you, like, look, this is why this makes no sense. Like, if he was getting beat up here, how is it a year later he's such a badass that he can go to, to the Tower of Joy to try to go fight the Kingsguard and some bad MFers? Why would you take him? And I'm not gonna lie, when I read it, I was thinking that same thing too. Like, why would you take this dude? Like, I get it, it's your best friend, but you're supposed to be like the baddest people of all time. I wouldn't take nobody. If my best friend can't fight, you cannot come to the club with me unless I have somebody else that's gonna come with me. Because something pops off, what are you gonna do? Where are you gonna be? And where is that gonna leave me? So imagine if we went to the club with swords. Like, I wouldn't, like, you're not gonna go with somebody, I'm saying, that you don't feel confident is able to get your back. And yeah, he fights with a spear, but so does Mira, and she's a badass. So I think he did that shit on purpose. Honestly, I think he did it on purpose because he went to the God's Eye, like he said. He went to the God's Eye. They told him, look, this is what's gonna happen. We need the princess promised, or whatever they told him. This is what you got to do. Make this happen. Get it, and it happened. He also saw the dream. Look, we gonna need this for Jon. All right, shank this dude. I already know what's gonna happen. Go in there. She's dying. Then all right, get this. All right, now let me come and drag you off her body because you crazy, So that's how I think of it. I know that was a rant, but that is how I think. It wasn't a petty rant, though. That's how.
No, it wasn't. I was just messing with you. And I honestly agree. I mean, it may have looked like Howland was doing something bad, but that is his liege lord. I mean, you're just going to stand there and let your liege lord die? If I had to come up on the side of some dude and shank him in the back of his neck to save who was in charge. If Sphinx was in trouble and I'm on the battlefield, I'm shanking a motherfucker in the back of the neck if I have to save her life. Just put it that way. Plain and simple. I don't see anything dishonorable with what Howland did and how they portrayed it on the show. Is he sketchy? Yeah. There's a lot of questions about Howland. I need to know more of what's going on with him. But was he acting dishonorably, saving Ned's life? I don't think so.
He said, night, night. He's going to go night, night.
Everybody go night-night.
I wasn't saying that he was being dishonorable. I'm saying he's being sneaky. Based on just like what you're saying, if we all scrapping, right? And we all going, it might be still 5-on-3, but we all going. We know that all these other three, like they the best of the best. you get slashed, but then you fake like you hurt, your men's are dying. To me, that's sneaky, because now people, you got bodies on you just because you faking your wound. I don't think his wound was as bad as he made it seem. The show made it worse. In the books, it might be a different way, but it just seemed like he was just lying there faking it. And then when he saw that he had an opportunity, that's when he got up.
I think that's just the way the show. Because you ever watch a movie where a person is taking on multiple people, and it just seems like he's fighting one, and then next thing you know, he's fighting another. What about where all the other ones at? I mean, and then you just see somebody come out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden he jumps in after he takes care of one, or you'll see two at a time. Where the other ones at? Or he'll smack one in the leg, and then he's lying down, and then all of a sudden the one that was laying down jumps up and then starts fighting. I think it's just the way that when they coordinate these fight scenes, that's just the way they coordinate them. In real life, that's probably not the way that it would have happened. I mean, when you have like 5 or 6 people getting ready to jump you, they all converge on you at the same time. They don't take turns. You know, even if you like hit one in the stomach and they go down, you know, from the, you know, they bend over from the pain, once they catch their breath, they'll come up, but they're not going to wait for you to finish 3 other people before they jump up and come at you. So I'm gonna guess that it's probably just the way that they coordinate it. Maybe it was just poor. I mean, some of the fight scenes in the show could have probably been better choreographed, but I can see where you could say that it did look very suspect. Me personally, I just think that that's just the way that they coordinated the fight scene.
Yeah, I think we just gonna have to disagree on this, because to me it seems sneaky, but it is what it is.
I think it's about culturally what you fight. Like when Europeans came over here, or like went to Africa and was like, we're gonna stand in a straight line and shoot at people, and it was like, no you ain't, bitch, jump, jump, jump. Like, you just gotta adapt. That's how we fight. I'm not gonna be able to fight you one-on-one. I know that. Like, that is not, I know that. And true, he was being a bitch because he shouldn't have been laying down there. Like, I see your point. That is sneaky. Like, if that's what you were doing, you was being a bitch. But then also on the flip side, if he is a green seer and he can see, he knows they're going to die anyway. Y'all gonna die. I already know, but I gotta survive, and I gotta do this thing and this thing and this thing, because this is the sequence of events that's gonna happen afterwards. But y'all gonna die, and that's messed up. That's messed up. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, like, you fight the way you want to fight. That's cool. To me, that was just a true bitch move to make me think, like, okay, that something's not right. Like, I'm not going to lie. If we all scrap it and I see one of y'all, like, faking, like, you ain't, while we all going at it, like, I might go at your ass, like, what the fuck? But, I mean, that's just how I am. So I understand it's different fights. It just, based off of how something, like, that looks sneaky, like men die, and it could be possible that he's seen it, but that just, I don't know, you could even hit your man to it or something, at least something, or at least fake like you was moving around doing something, but you just look like you was just there, and then all of a sudden you were like, the only way it's going to happen is if we stab him. Like, I just don't see that. So to me, he's sneaky till proving that you can trust him. And we can get off topic, AK, but I just want people to know that.
Way off topic, because T-Baby being petty.
I did, because I just think, like, if that's your real friend, and maybe if that's your real friend, and that's like y'all real tough, or even if it was your sister, I just think that's messed up, because it's men that die also. But, I mean, I guess it's who dies that counts, not, you know.
Yeah, maybe he knew other people would die. I mean, we won't know until the book comes out and we see how that played out, if we ever get the flashback told clearly like we did on the show. But he could have thought, yeah, I got to lay here like I'm dying because I'm going to have to get up and help Ned. He can't win with Arthur. So if these other 3 guys around me got to die, I got to save Ned. And maybe that was his goal. It could be looked at both ways. I totally agree. A sucker move, and then also very strategic when you have a certain skill set. He wasn't going to win with the sword fight with Arthur Dane, but he was going to win by doing what he did. And maybe that's why he was back there, you know, playing handicap for a second.
That's messed
All
up.
I know is that if we scrap it, and I see one of y'all not scrap it, don't y'all pull no Howlin' Reed. She.
But what if I save you in the end?
Huh?
So what if I save you in the
Then
end?
I with your ass for 15 minutes.
All is well that ends well.
Everybody better be on that Jon Snow shit, okay? I want savages.
Leroy Jenkins.
I don't want no Howland Reed in my squad.
I would want you to tell me, like, that's the thing. Like, I would want you to tell me. But then again, like, fuck around, you tell him, and then it fucks up the course of history. I don't know. I would hope that there's something better in the books that explains it, because as you know, the show, you know how the show gets sometimes. So hopefully it's not how that works.
No Howlands.
Anybody else have children?
So, Melisandre, though.
Well, won't you
But
start?
what we were going to do... I'm sorry.
Go ahead, North.
I need to get off soon, and I was trying to keep it under 2. I think we're at like an hour and a half or so. But from our actual start. But if you guys are okay with it, I was gonna want to combine Melisandre in a part 3 if y'all are able to do it, so we could, because she's gonna be thorough and probably have a lot more discussion about what we think about her misinterpretations or interpretation skills. So are y'all okay waiting to hold on to that one and doing another one?
That's fine.
Yeah, that sounds good. Mel probably needs a whole episode by herself anyway.
Yeah, I was thinking that she would either be totally all of it, or in the only other ones I had was The Undying and Maggie the Frog. But Maggie the Frog is pretty brief, and I was gonna open it to whatever you guys wanted to talk about. That was prophetic people and how they impacted it.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Just let
So
me
like a part 2 might be good, so we don't feel like regression.
Yeah, whatever time you want to do it, let me know.
Okay, and then I guess we'll put up something once we all agree on a date for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever. Get up in the chat.
Are we done?
All right.
Do we all have?
Well, if y'all don't mind, we can wrap it up and sign off.
Yeah, I guess we're just like, damn, really? But yes.
I mean, somebody else on the stream also, though.
I don't know what else to talk about. We can talk about this.
You're breaking up, Alicia.
I'm sorry. No, I was gonna say, is somebody else want to stream? Because I like have nothing to do today.
I think Mo has
in house.
I do believe Mo, I think, has a stream coming up later.
Yeah, I think
I'm not sure.
6-ish or something like that, maybe.
I don't know, y'all. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I just know he'll be on later. I don't remember what time though.
Yeah, I know Renee in the chat says she knows. I know she knows. So I'm sure she'll let you know, guys know in the chat if or what time they're coming on. Because she's always on those.
All right, so I guess we're signing out then.
Yes, ladies, if you'd like to sign off, and thank you again before you sign off for joining again, and thank you for agreeing for a part 3. This topic is getting real good, and there's a whole lot to talk about, and I don't want to rush it through, so I just breaking it up in bits might be the best for us, because I know Mel's going to be big. But thank you guys. Y'all want to sign off?
I'll start. Sorry, did I cut somebody off?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, so thanks, Candace, for allowing me to come in and join you in part 2. Always a pleasure with my fellow sisters, Alicia, Lady D, T-Baby, and to everyone in the chat, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us this beautiful Sunday hot afternoon. It is like hotter than a witch's cauldron out here, up here in New York at least. My channel is Manaro Geek TV. I do have something on there. I will be starting the chapter summaries for A Clash of Kings this week, and continue on to finish up the book. Please check out my ladies here. They have some really good stuff on their channels, and hope everybody has a blessed week.
Professor D.
Hey guys, it's Lady D. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll be back with a part 3 and probably some other videos. Like, share, subscribe, and thanks for coming.
Lady C.
You said me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, y'all. This was fun. Sorry I was late. I really feel bad for that, but I had to come through for Candy Cane. This was awesome talks with prophecies. I'm sorry I went so hard on Howlin' Reed. I just don't like sucker stuff. I do have videos, like I said, just stop by, check it out, have fun, and more videos will be coming soon. Just look out for them. Like, I'll send a raven or something. But like, it's always fun talking to you ladies. Always fun talking to you guys in chats. And Mo's got a stream coming up, so most likely I'm going to see all of you over there. Have a good weekend. Well, I should say have a good week and happy football. And that's about it.
All right. Alicia, did you sign up?
No, I did not. Give a shout out to my pack brother Johnny coming in at the end, because Johnny comes in at the end of things. Ridiculous. And my another one of my little tiny humans, he wanted to come say hi. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay. So, Lord Commander, signing out. Appreciate you having this channel up finally, Candace, and glad to be here chatting about all this stuff. So definitely let us know when we get part 3 started. You guys come join us. But, you know, check out everybody's channel that's on the panel, but don't come to mine because seriously, it's like absolute shite. So you don't want to torture yourself like that.
It's not shite. Thank you, ladies, again. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for popping in and talking with us and filling in some of these blanks and having a good time. I will post links to everyone's page under this video and under our video from yesterday, and I'll post the announcement once we all set the part 3. So thank you all again. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and have a good week.
Bye, everyone.
Later.